Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Cooking with Chef Aaron. First of all, let me just say in advance, sorry I haven't done this show for a while. The thing is, ever since I moved into my condo, I haven't really had the motivation to do it on my own independently because since I'm not living with my parents anymore, and it takes up a lot more energy to buy groceries and prepare a meal that you're going to make ahead of time. Since it takes a while to make a big meal with a bunch of fancy ingredients, I haven't really found the stamina to do Cooking with Chef Aaron as often. So I apologize in advance that I haven't made a video in a long time, but here we go. And so anyway, I would like to start this episode off by telling you that we're going to be exploring the country of Vietnam, the Southeast Asian country of Vietnam. And this country was kindly requested to me by none other than Leon Lam. And Leon, if you are watching this video, I would like to give a big shout out to you. Thank you so much for your requests. And as always, I hope to receive more requests from other people sometime in the future. So anyway, let's get into it. What do I think of Vietnam? Well, I'm going to start this review off by talking about the largest city, which is known as Ho Chi Minh City. And as you can see here, the architecture is very similar to Toronto, somewhat futuristic, but it's not really anything too captivating. I do kind of like the architecture a little bit. I think it really stands out, but it's not really anything too crazy what I would find in Central Asian countries like Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, among those lines. It's not anything futuristic like that, but it still stands out. I really like it enough. And as you can see here, there's a nice, cool looking shield, I guess you could say, shaped cathedral in the city. I think that looks really cool. How there's a huge contrast between the cathedral here, the shield shaped cathedral here in the city that has buildings that are very similar in style to Toronto. The buildings are very similar in style to Toronto. I think that looks really cool with the way it blends in. It's kind of a cool, trippy contrast. I think it's a pretty cool city, though surprisingly enough, Ho Chi Minh City doesn't really have an Asian vibe to it, like what I expected it to. Because there's not a lot of Japanese influence or Chinese architecture. It doesn't really have anything like that. There's not a lot of Thai, Cambodian, anything like that in the way of architecture. But it's still a pretty good city nonetheless. And now I'm going to shift my attention over to the capital city, which is called Hanoi. And this city actually does have some Asian influenced architecture because, as you can see here, it's very cool in design. It kind of has very similar buildings to what you would find in Japan. It's very cool with the way it is. I really like it a lot. And now I'm going to shift my attention over to the third largest city in Vietnam, which is called Haiphong. And this city is very colorful. Once again, it doesn't really have a lot of Asian influence to architecture, but it's very cool because at night the colors will light up. It looks all cool and nice in design. It looks really awesome. I really like the way it looks a lot. And to wrap up this review, I'm going to talk about the rural parts of Vietnam now. And as you can see here, the rural areas, you can kind of see a little bit of, I guess, what you would call an archipelago, kind of here, because you can see some rocks, gigantic plant rocks sprouting out of the ocean or the river or whatever it is. It looks very cool, kind of similar to what you would see in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. Because I remember in Mexico I saw rocks that looked very similar to that. It was kind of sort of a mini archipelago, I guess you could say. And it was really cool, and I think the rural areas in Vietnam look really cool too, with the way they're coming out of the body of water here. And to wrap up this review, I'm going to give my rating of Vietnam. And overall, I think I'd probably have to give it a B. Okay, so now we are going to go into my kitchen, and I'm going to show you how to make Vietnamese ginger chicken. And I'm sure it will be a lot of fun, so follow me please. Okay, so in order to make the Vietnamese ginger chicken, the ingredients you will need are as follows. In this bowl over here, I have 3 pounds of chicken, which I have chopped up into 2-inch pieces. That's the first thing you want to do before you start. You got to make sure your chicken is chopped up into 2-inch pieces. And in this little ramekin, I have approximately 1 tablespoon of salt. We're going to be using this to wash the chicken. This is going to be used in the washing process. And as for my other ingredients, in this ramekin, I have 1 tablespoon approximately of chicken stock powder, right over here, this little brown one. And over here I have 3 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of MSG over here. And as for my other ingredients, I have 2.5 tablespoons of fish sauce, this container, 2 tablespoons of green onions over here, 1 piece of ginger, which I have peeled and chopped, as you can see here, 1 shallot that has been chopped, 3 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of cooking oil, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And we are going to get started right now, and I'll see you all then. Alright, so the first step in the process to make the Vietnamese ginger chicken is you want to take your bowl of chicken and you want to take your 1 tablespoon of salt, and you're just going to apply it all to the chicken as best you can. So I'm just going to sprinkle this all over best I can. And the next thing you want to do is with your clean hands, you just want to toss it around, make sure every piece of the chicken gets a good coating of the salt. Now granted, it's probably not going to be possible to make this 100% perfect, but if you're attempting this recipe, I advise you to just do your best. So just do this for maybe like a couple of seconds, like maybe half a minute. And once you feel it's good, we will move on to the next step, and I will see you all then. Okay, and now that your chicken is successfully coated with the salt, next thing you want to do is you want to transfer the chicken to a colander, and you want to turn on your sink. You want to make sure you're at cold water. You're just going to turn on your sink, and you're just going to give it a good rinse, like all over, because this is part of the process. Part of the process before cooking, this is a little bit of prep work, I guess you could say, is to just give each piece of chicken a good rinse, and once that is done, turn off the sink and just give it a good shake, and shake out all the water and make sure you get all the water out. And once that's done, we can move on to the next step. I'll see you all then. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is after you've finished washing your chicken, you are going to start the marinating process of your chicken. So what you're going to do is you're going to transfer your chicken from the colander back into the same bowl. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your chicken stock powder, sprinkle it all on top, your sugar, your salt and MSG, and your black pepper. So now what you want to do is you just want to toss it around, make sure everything gets combined evenly. And once you feel everything is incorporated well, you just got to let this rest for 15 minutes. And afterwards we will start cooking. And won't that be exciting? Yay! I'm excited! Alright, so now we will begin the cooking process. So I'm going to turn my stove on to medium-high heat, so about 4. And the first thing you want to do is you want to add your sugar, your 2 teaspoons of sugar, and this is supposed to be making like a caramel sauce, so I'm just going to add it like this. And you just got to keep an eye on it. You don't want this to burn. This will heat up very quickly. So yeah, you just gotta keep an eye on it, and I'll see you all then. Okay, and my sugar is starting to dissolve a little bit, so what you gotta do is you just gotta keep mixing everything around. Just make sure everything gets all nicely caramelized. It's a nice amber color. Just gotta make sure everything is nicely dissolved. And once you have like a little bit of like a syrupy consistency, I guess you could say, that's when you add your chicken. So just going to continue to stir this around. And I will see you then. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do is you want to add all of your chicken immediately to the sugar that caramelized. And now you just have to toss it around, make sure everything gets incorporated well, and the sauce is mixed well with the chicken. And I'll see you all then. I'll just toss it around and make sure it's a nice brown color. And yes, we'll see you in the next step. Okay, so I just want to say something real quick. I was sort of nervous about setting off the smoke detector in my condo because from experience I've had cooking in my kitchen before, like my smoke detector has gone off like very easily. I didn't want to set it off, so I was very careful. I just made sure the sugar turned slightly amber. The recipe called to have it turn a dark amber, but I waited for it to turn a light amber and just wait for a little bit of smoke. That way I didn't set off the smoke detector. And I add the chicken immediately. So unfortunately, you may not see that much of a caramel sauce like applied to the chicken, but I'm following the recipe as best I can. I'm trying to make sure the juice at the bottom applies to the chicken. And if I feel it looks good enough, it doesn't quite look the same as the recipe does, I'm sure the end product will be fine. And I think it kind of does look like a nice sort of brown, so I think I'm going to set this chicken aside, and then I'm going to move on to the next step, and I'll see you all then. Okay, so now that you've removed your chicken from the pot, it's all nicely coated with the sugar and the sauce, let's call it. The next thing you want to do is you want to turn your stove back on to medium-high heat, and you want to add your vegetable oil. And once your oil is added, the next thing you want to do is you want to spread it all around evenly along the pot. And the first thing you're going to add are your shallots. And you want to toss these around until they have a nice fragrant smell. And I will see you then. Okay, so now I feel my shallots are beginning to smell nice. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add your ginger. Now you're going to apply the salt to the mixture, and you're going to blend it in with the shallots. And once again, you want to wait for a fragrant smell, and then afterwards you'll move on to the next step, and I'll see you all then. Okay, and my ginger is starting to smell nice, I feel. So lastly, you want to add your garlic, all of your garlic. You want to blend it in with the ginger and shallots. And once again, you are waiting to get a fragrant smell. And I'll see you then. Okay, so now that your mixture is smelling nice, the next thing you want to do is you want to take your chicken from earlier, and you want to add it all back into the pot, just like this. And once again, we gotta toss it around with all the scents of the cooking, the shallots, the ginger, and the garlic. We gotta toss it around, make sure it's evenly coated. And I will see you then. Alright, so now once everything is evenly coated with the shallots, garlic, and ginger, next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your fish sauce and you're going to apply it all to the chicken, just like this. Okay, and now once it's all added, you just gotta give it all a good mix. Make sure it's all evenly coated with the sauce. Once all the chicken pieces are nice and red, what you want to do now is you want to cover this. You want this to sit on a simmer for at least 10 minutes. I'll see you all then. Alright, so now that you've let your chicken simmer while covered. The next thing you want to do is you want to remove the lid, and you just want to continue to cook for approximately 10 or more minutes. Let's give it 10 minutes and we'll see how it's doing. So we'll just give it 10 more minutes and we'll see if it's nicely cooked, the chicken that is. And I'll see you all then. Alright, so I just cooked for an additional 10 minutes and I just tasted the sauce and a piece of chicken. They both taste really good. So now the final step in this cooking process is that you want to grab your green onions and your pepper, and you just want to mix them in. So here are my green onions, and here's my pepper for a garnish. And once this is all blended in, we will then be ready to serve this, and I'll let you know what I think of it overall. I'll see you then. Okay, let's see what I think of this Vietnamese ginger chicken. Okay, I've got a piece right here. Let's see what I think of it. This is phenomenal. I would say that this is probably one of the best dishes I've ever cooked on Cooking with Chef Aaron. The fish sauce really does have a nice kick to it. And you know, the ginger, oh, it has a nice aroma. Very, very tasty, like very authentic Asian dinner. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of chicken and I'm going to dip it in some fish sauce that I prepared as a side. So let's see what I think. Okay, here we go, dipped it in some fish sauce. Let's see what I think. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love this a lot. Yes, and now I'm going to show you the finished product on my plate and show you what it looks like. Alright, and this is the finished product served on my placemat. And I've served it with a side of rice with soy sauce, some fish sauce, and I have a mug root beer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next episode.